When was the last time you were afraid? Really afraid?
All right, everybody, welcome to the Heavy Leather Horror Show podcast, your weekly guide to all things horror from the heart of Witch City, Salem, Massachusetts. I'm your old pal Ken, a.k.a. rock and roll writer, sleaze grinder, and there she is, everybody. It's Salem's greatest hauntress. It's Kelly Kapow.
Hey, everyone.
Let's fucking party!
Also with us, it's our coolest creep, Kate Douglas of Kate's Grim Day Out fame. She's a creep. She's waiting for alcohol as we speak.
It's true.
Gotta deliver it right to her door. What kind of alcohol are you getting?
Wine.
Wine, okay.
And whiskey.
Okay.
And gin.
That's awesome.
Wow, you're going to mix them all together? And
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
That's what you call a Kate cocktail.
Just go for it?
I do a big order all at once so that I don't make the local store, have to come multiple times a month.
And there he is, everybody. It's Rui, the 16-year-old intern.
I was a teenage
16
werewolf.
now.
Fantastic.
That's right. Been that way
Bewildering.
for a few weeks.
Yeah, so speaking of teenage werewolf, are you getting any facial hair happening?
Yeah, but it's patchy and doesn't look good, so I shave it off.
Okay.
Same.
Well, well, as time goes on, it might start, filling out. We'll see.
Yeah.
God, you would look good with just a mustache, I think. I think that would be a good move for you.
Oh no, my father did that.
Oh, like a handlebar one. Very twirly.
No, just like a sleazy,
Ugh.
greasy
Like a
mustache.
porn stash.
Oh, he would look great in that.
It's either beard or nothing. I don't think there's really an in-between for me.
Also producing the show tonight, it's horror show director Stacy Dawn.
No one messes with Stacy and lives.
Hey, Stacy, how are you?
Okay.
Also, guess what? Our most favorite friend, our most famous friend, Survivor, and horror show assistant director, Lursa is here, everybody. Lursa's here! Yeah! Come on!
Hi, guys.
Yeah!
All right. Yes.
Awesome to be here.
Our most favorite and our most famous. And if you could see, she also is a master of Zoom background, Stace, if you saw that.
I did. Looks fantastic.
It really does. Well, Stace, the bats are in the belfry, and the monsters are all chained up in the dungeon, and the wolves are howling, Stace, and the wind is lashing at the house as we speak. So that can only mean one thing, that it's time to start the show. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Bats.
Thank you, Bats.
Thank you.
This week and every week we'll have a little horror news. We'll be talking about some horror movies that we've seen lately, and we'll be reviewing a film together. This week it's Good Boy, the latest Into the Dark from Hulu. So that'll be fun. Before all that, though, let's not forget, Kate is what you might call a true crime enthusiast, and she knows so much about murder. And as you know, Stace, she is always bursting to tell you about it. So before we continue, let's get to the Murder Minute.
All right. So I have a historical one for you today, guys.
Ooh.
We're going way back, like way back, like not 1960s. We're going back to 1787.
Oh my God! Had they already invented murder back then?
Murder existed, believe it or not.
I had no idea.
It's,
I thought that was like a
the dawn of
1940s thing or
time.
something.
Tale
Wow.
of this time kind of things. People kill each other for so many reasons for so long. But in 1787, you might know this famous ship, the HMS Bounty,
Okay, sure.
left England.
Right.
They were on a mission to collect and transport breadfruit plants, which I had to look up, is in the jackfruit and mulberry family.
Before we go any further, let's talk about that for a second. Because first of all, I have no idea what a breadfruit would look like, but I know I don't really know what a jackfruit looks like either. But people say that you can substitute jackfruit for meat in certain dishes.
Yeah, people
you can,
in like pulled pork recipes.
Right.
It's very tasty.
I've never had it myself, but I've heard good things.
Right. And I guess breadfruit is in that family somehow.
Yeah.
And it probably looks like it. If you can imagine a jackfruit, maybe you can imagine a breadfruit.
The idea that like Wikipedia tells me that breadfruit is in the family of mulberry and jackfruit is a little confusing. I can't, because like mulberries and jackfruits are very different. So why are they in one family?
Wait, it doesn't look like bread at all.
No, it's really good actually. We eat that a lot back at home, and it's really good. It tastes more or less like a root, like cassava. It has that kind of flavor,
it's and like you make starchy?
And we make like a lot of stuff like fried shit with it, and it's really good.
So you make fried breadfruit with your breadfruit.
Yeah, you make something. It's really famous. It's called tostones. So it's usually made with plantain. So you cut it in like little like blocks, and you like,
they sell those. I eat those all the time. They sell them at Whole Foods or Trader Joe's.
Yeah, you can find that at Market Basket or Latino Market in a bag. Goya.
I got it.
But they do it with breadfruit, and they're a little bit softer.
Okay.
They're really good too.
I feel like we've gotten off track, but let's get back to it. Here we go. HMS Bounty.
Thank you, Lisa. That's awesome. Okay, so this is their mission, but they have a 5-month layover in Tahiti, and Tahiti's very nice, much nicer than England. And they live on the shore. They make relationships with the locals, and then the captain of the ship is like, "All right, time to go." His name is Lieutenant William Bligh. And they get back on the ship, and they're really dissatisfied with being back on a ship after spending 5 months in Tahiti, and things start to go south. And the captain is getting more and more harsh with like criticism and abuse. And so, led by the acting lieutenant Fletcher Christian, some of the men decide to seize control of the ship. They put the captain, William Bligh, and 18 loyalists with him adrift in the ocean, which is basically sentencing them to death. And they sail on in the big ship. But they end up on 2 different islands where a lot of them die, but a lot of them end up hiding out. And William Bligh ends up making it back to England unscathed and decides to, move forward with pressing charges, and they send ships to go find these men, and they find a bunch of them and bring them back. 3 are pardoned, 3 are hanged, and 3 are acquitted.
So how many of them that they left actually died? So Bligh is the only one that survived, I'm assuming.
No, some men came back with Blythe, and there were 25 men on the main boat after they set them adrift. And of those people, not many survived, and they actually never found the main guy, Christian Fletcher. But basically what happened was they tried to live on the shore of islands in the Tahiti area again, and it didn't go as well. And a bunch of them killed each other. Some of them got into fights and were killed by locals, and some of them just died from not being able to fend for themselves.
Wait, so how did these guys go from the South Pacific all the way back to England on did they
dinghy, basically?
Yeah,
really? How did that? Didn't stop anywhere?
I don't have information on that. All I know is I think they managed to get somewhere else to a different port city, and then by way of there made it to England.
Sounds like quite the trip.
Yeah.
Hence Mutiny on the Bounty. That's what we're talking about here, right?
That's what we're talking about, Mutiny on the Bounty.
Thank you. Mutiny on the Bounty, everybody. Yes!
Woo!
Yay, mutiny.
We did it. We learned. I think what happens is you get stuck on a dinghy, and then somehow you lure seagulls down to your dinghy, and then you kill the seagulls, and then you drink their blood, and then you eat the seagulls.
You just fish off the side?
Probably, but that's less fun.
Well, you can fish off the side, but you still need to drink something.
Yeah.
So
That's true.
You can, but
That's
you can
where the
drink.
blood comes in.
It turns out you can drink blood. I don't know why, because I thought blood was salty, but you can drink blood.
You can drink pee-pee too.
You can drink
That's
pee-pee,
very salty.
but you got to drink it. You got to drink it immediately because it's only safe.
Or you just have somebody else pee into your mouth.
Ooh, yeah.
If you got a couple people, you can probably keep.
It's
that
all
going.
dudes. It's all dudes, so they're good. They have easier time.
Back and forth the whole time.
Exactly, back and forth. That's going to last for a while. Eventually, I think you start. If it's hot out there, you're going to sweat it all out, and then you're not even going to have to pee, and then you're really going to have a problem.
I think I'd probably just throw myself overboard.
Yeah, I mean, enough is enough. I mean,
once it came in this circle.
I don't know how much. Exactly. I don't know how much of a will to survive I have. So, peeing into each other's mouths for months at a time. I don't know if I'm going to go for that. Really.
Isn't there some sort of like condition that happens from being on a boat for too long and like being dehydrated? It's like it's similar to like
cabin fever, right?
You get scurvy and you get rickets, and then I think it like does psychological damage to you and you start hallucinating a lot.
Yeah.
Well, that's what cabin fever is, right?
But indoors, right? Or no, like the cabin of a boat?
Yeah.
I always imagine it's like a cabin in the woods.
No, it's
oh
like
my god,
cabin...
this makes so much sense.
Yeah. That's like a old pirate thing.
Guys, we're learning so much today.
We are. You really taught us a lot today. Thank you, Kate. It's the Murder Minute, everybody. A little applause, Stace, for the Murder Minute, because we got a lot out of that.
Learn about
Any good discussion
and everything.
A couple of quick things before we get to the movies. First of all, Stace, give me a little background. Thank you. Is it coming? Mm-hmm. Thank you. First of all, the mainstream horror community is in the midst of what I would call, Stacey, a circular firing squad. Thank you. That's what it sounds like right now. Keep it going, Stace. More gunfire.
Seize the Bastille.
Okay, thank you. I think that's the proper amount. So Fangoria magazine. Everybody knows Fangoria magazine.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that they've been also producing motion pictures lately. And actually doing a pretty good job of it. Satanic Panic, VFW.
Yeah.
Fangoria has lost contributing horror icons Joe Bob Briggs, Barbara Crampton, and a slew of podcasts and supporters over a recent sexual misconduct scandal at Cinestate, which is the movie production company that they utilize. Additionally, Fangoria is now looking for a new buyer to continue their successful reboot, which began 2 years ago. Like, literally everything fell apart for Fangoria, magazine, movies, everything, just in the past couple of weeks. Everything came to a head earlier this week when an expose from the Daily Beast about Cinestate producer Adam Donahue spread through the film community like wildfire. Essentially, this guy is the indie Harvey Weinstein.
Oh my God.
Donahue was arrested in 2017 for the rape of a 16-year-old girl, and tales of his sexual misconduct have been told behind the scenes for years now. So this guy was the executive producer of both VFW and Satanic Panic, which were Fangoria productions. In addition to Joe Bob leaving, tons of podcasts that recently moved to the Fangoria Podcast Network jump ship as of yesterday. Postmortem with Mick Garris, which is a great one. Nightmare on Film Street, The Movie Crypt, Casualty Friday, Nightmare University, and perhaps the most famous of them all, Blumhouse's Shockwaves, are all no longer under the Fangoria banner in a show of support to the victims. Also, one of the hosts of Shockwaves, Rob Galuzzo, who is director of acquisitions at Fangoria Films, has also been accused of by multiple women of sexual harassment. So now he's out of Shockwaves too. So he lost his job at Fangoria and at Shockwaves. Also, by the way, turns out that Cinestate, the company that all this stems from, was originally created in the first place to make films for right-wingers. I had no idea.
Oh.
And while I couldn't tell you how, their original trilogy that they produced, Bone Tomahawk, Dragged Across Concrete, and Brawl in Cell Block 99, were all part of that scheme to make movies that would appeal to Trump's base. I love all three of those movies, by the way. So I've
never seen them.
Bone Tomahawk is incredible. Stace, remember that one?
Yeah.
Kurt Russell fighting cannibals.
Intense.
It's great. So all that happened. Oh, and Fred the Hammer Williamson, who was in VFW, was also accused of sexual misconduct on the set of the film. He apparently harassed his makeup person. So it's really just been an ugly couple of weeks out there in Horrorland.
Good Lord.
It's really something.
So let's all just make a pact here on the Heavy Leather Horror Show podcast to just cool it with sexual misconduct amongst each other. Oh,
I'll try.
I'll do my best.
Okay. Just so we can keep things going.
Hopefully it goes without saying.
Yeah, no shit, Rui. The 16-year-old knows what's up.
You would think it would go without saying, but certainly it doesn't seem to. Even on this level, the horror community seems just like close knit and open minded and all this kind of stuff. So you don't really expect that kind of stuff to happen. But then there you go, it does. And it's like producer power play stuff, but it's such low power, but it still happens. Kind of blows me away. This is in local news. Kowloon is wasting no time in putting together their drive-in / car hop scheme. Stace, a little drive-in. This is the way it's going to sound. That's the way it's going to sound in Kowloon next weekend, Stace. Thank you.
But imagine how good it's going to smell.
Right. By the way, all that noisy. So we went to the drive-in last night, and before the movie, they were like the announcer guy was like, "Hey, next week we're gonna be showing a Garth Brooks concert, and we're filming for the Garth Brooks concert. So I need everybody to flash their lights and honk their horns for the next 2 minutes." I don't know why, Stace. I don't know why we did. I went along with it though, but that's the way it sounded. Stace, play it again, and we'll recreate last night at the drive-in. Stace, you think this is a good idea?
It's ridiculous.
I mean, anything for Garth Brooks, right? All right, thank you.
I hope you were wearing your cowboy hat.
Yeah, right.
Feel bad for the neighbors.
That's what I said. I said, I don't want to be these neighbors right now. It's 9 o'clock at night and people are beeping.
The Milford Drive-In is right outside of a trailer park. So I'm sure all the people at the trailer enjoyed all that noise.
Tell me this. Is the drive-in still as hot and steamy as ever?
In what capacity?
I feel like...
You mean sexually, or do you just mean...
Yeah, isn't that where you, go to make out with your sweetie?
Well...
in the car?
Not like the groups of middle-aged and people sitting at little picnic tables that they brought with them with their lawn chairs.
At this point in time, it seems more of a family affair. There are a lot of teenagers, and I imagine the teenagers might be making out. I haven't peeped.
That's probably good.
It might be.
Yeah, please.
It might be fun to do. I mean, you do have to wear masks, so you can certainly get away with.
This is not going in a good direction here.
Did we just talk about this?
Especially after what we just promised.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that if you really wanted to peep around, I'm sure you could get away with it. So I haven't seen a lot of it.
The teenagers we saw though were in
Forget that I asked.
In large groups of people in back of pickup trucks.
Do you think that ever deters teenagers from doing things though?
No, of course not. I mean, I'm sure it's happening. I just haven't seen it. It hasn't happened in my car so far. So
I don't like that caveat. I don't.
The season is still early though, so we'll see how it goes.
Oh boy.
Anyway,
how about climate-wise?
Climate-wise, it's fine because you can create your own climate inside of a car.
Could you cook a rotisserie chicken in the back of your car?
Yeah, if you like, you can do whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. So it's supposed to be up and running this week. Stacy says that the screen is already up, right?
Yes, they posted it on Facebook. Kowloon did.
So Kowloon is a very famous Chinese restaurant here in the North Shore of Massachusetts, and they're going to have drive-in and a whole car hop thing where you get egg rolls delivered to your car while you watch the movie. It's really going to be something.
Crab rangoon.
You can have crab rangoon if that's what you like, buddy.
Hell yeah.
Can you get a scorpion bowl delivered to your car?
I don't know about alcohol. I suppose so. If you can, I don't suggest that you bang down a scorpion bowl while you're driving a car.
Well, if you're in the passenger seat,
exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Bang down like 2 or 3. All right.
You probably want a whole scorpion bowl to yourself.
You don't know that, Stacey. You don't know that.
Hey, that Ari Aster guy of Midsummer and Hereditary fame says his next film is going to be a nightmare comedy and will be 4 hours long.
No.
Too fucking long.
I really liked both those movies, and I don't want a 4-hour movie.
Yeah, me either. Me either.
Who wants to sit in a theater for 4 hours?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
I mean, no one's going to this year.
Yeah, exactly.
My ass hurts
too.
thinking about it.
Yeah.
You'd have to have intermissions.
Yeah.
Like you were at a live theater.
And Midsummer could be considered a kind of a nightmare comedy. There wasn't anything funny about Hereditary, but I don't know. Maybe the guy can be funny. I don't know. Because I mean, what he's known for if he's known for anything, it's for that scream crying bit. Not a whole lot of laughs and scream crying. So maybe he's capable. I don't know. But certainly 4 hours is too long. But that's his plan anyway. And he's kind of an auteur, Stace, so he can do whatever he wants. If he wants to make it 4 hours, he'll make it 4 hours. In fact, it's an Midsummer was already too long, and then there was an extended cut that was it was 3 hours long. So
what?
He's getting too many.
What?
He was.
What could possibly have been happening?
I don't know.
He needs people that'll say no to him.
He does. He's exactly. He's like Glenn Danzig. You need somebody to say no once in a while.
He's been successful, but now he's just going to be surrounded by yes men. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to make a 4-hour movie. They're all like, oh, that's genius.
Yeah. You need somebody to tell you no.
Yeah.
I'll tell him no.
Okay.
I don't want to watch a movie that's 2 hours most of the time. Never mind 4 hours.
Me either. I've been watching a lot of older movies. Yeah. I really like movies from the 1930s, and one of the great things about them is that they're usually like 70 minutes long, which is perfect. In and out.
Perfect. Yeah.
If they could only all be have such brevity, we'd really be able to. I think maybe it's because they invest so much money in movies these days that. And they don't make that many of them. It's like these blockbusters, so they make them 2.5 hours or whatever. It's crazy. It's way too long. I don't want to wait that long to get through a story. Hey, here's something nice though. Doug Bradley. Everybody knows Doug Bradley. He's Pinhead of Hellraiser fame. He launched a YouTube channel and he's reading Frankenstein in a series of videos.
He's got a very nice voice.
Hellraiser fans will be excited to hear that horror icon Doug Bradley has launched his own YouTube channel while in quarantine with the promise that the channel will offer the official home for videos of Doug reading short stories, poetry, and general musings. Indeed, the first videos to make their way onto the channel see Bradley reading a classic horror novel. In a series of videos, Doug Bradley will be reading the entirety of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, originally published way back in 1818. As Bradley notes, we all know the story of Dr. Frankenstein and his monster, but how many of us have actually read the book?
Me.
Kate has.
I love Mary Shelley. I can tell you all about Mary Shelley. She's fantastic, but I don't like Frankenstein.
So why not read it while you're sitting at home in quarantine this month? Better yet, why not sit back, relax, and let one horror icon read another horror icon's masterpiece to you? Although, as of yesterday, they've only had like 400 views each, so horror icons reading horror icons might not be catching on.
Yeah,
exactly, Stacey.
Yeah.
Maybe that's. But maybe if he did it naked, that I was gonna suggest.
No.
Oh no!
Sounds like it's terrible.
Also, maybe not legal, especially not on YouTube.
Yeah, you're right.
This is great for me. I was just thinking that I need to reread Frankenstein as an adult and see if I like it more. And now I can just listen to it.
What was your issue with Frankenstein when you read it the first time?
Frankenstein is a lot. Most of the book is like just a white man complaining.
Okay.
About problems that he created.
Yeah. All right.
And just the back end of the book is just too much of that. If it had just been like a little condensed with the complaining of a white man,
okay,
it'd have been better for me.
What do you think Pinhead looks like naked? Because I wouldn't want to see Doug Bradley reading this naked, but if he was like Pinhead in like full like get up, what would that look like? Do you think there'd be pins all over his body?
That's what I'm thinking, or at least.
But no, he's Pinhead. Only his face has pins.
He has two heads, Ken.
He's not pin body.
What about the lower head?
Oh yeah, that's true. Well,
Kelly makes a good point.
Yeah.
Pinheads.
Right.
Asking the questions nobody wants answers to.
Sorry, I'm so sleazy today.
Someone wants answers to these questions.
It's Kelly.
Yeah.
A couple more things. Man shoots himself in penis while robbing a hot dog stand.
Oh, no!
Ironic.
I'm not going to report every time a guy shoots himself in the dick unless it's funny. But it's usually funny. So, suspect entered a restaurant with a loaded firearm looking to score easy money and maybe some free food. This took place at a hot dog stand at a restaurant near Maxwell Street in Chicago. The 19-year-old approached the hot dog stand and demanded cash. When he went to adjust the .38 pistol he had brought along, he shot himself twice, once in his penis and once in his leg.
Oh, he deserves it. Don't feel bad for him.
He was later taken...
No, I don't feel bad, but it sounds like it hurt.
How'd you do it twice?
He was later taken to the hospital for non-life-threatening injuries, good for him, and later charged with attempted robbery.
Why would you do that?
I don't know. Also, out of all the
Hot
places
dog
you could...
stand?
Yeah, I mean, how much money is a hot dog stand? Even on a good day. Even on their best day. How much is a hot dog?
$32.75.
Exactly.
They're not high-priced
It's not
items.
worth the old dick shot.
Right. And even if you do want to rob a hot dog stand, I don't even think you need a gun for that. I think you can get away with just pretending to have a gun, and you could...
Yeah. Do the employees care that much?
They do not care. Believe me. They'll just give it to you.
You're like, yeah, right.
Because again, it's like $17. It's not worth it.
Not worth it.
Boys let Black Widow spider bite them in hopes of becoming Spider-Man.
No.
Oh God.
Did it work?
Well, they got to see Spider-Man in the hospital, if that's what you mean.
That's good, Rui. Good. That's a good joke.
Nice one.
3 young Bolivian brothers were hospitalized after getting a Black Widow spider to bite them, thinking it would turn them into Spider-Man, according to officials. The Marvel-loving siblings, age 12, 10, and 8. I feel like the 12-year-old should have had the sense.
Yeah.
He's
12-year-old probably was the ringleader, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like,
mentor.
let's try it.
He found the spider while herding goats in Chianta, which is in Bolivia. Thinking it would give them superhero powers, they prodded it with a stick until it bit each of them in turn. Finding them crying, their mom rushed them to the hospital where they were treated for fevers, tremors, and muscle pains, according to the report.
I have chills through my entire body. Ugh.
With venom 15 times stronger than a rattlesnake's, Black Widows are one of the most feared spiders in the world and the most venomous in North America, according to National Geographic. While their bites are not usually fatal, children are among those most at risk, along with the elderly and the infirm. The arachnids are not aggressive and bite only in self-defense, including, it seems, when being prodded by young superhero fans.
Did they make it? Did they live?
Oh yeah, they lived. They got they had to be rushed to the hospital and taken care of. But this is a lesson for everybody. Don't have spiders bite you because you're not going to get superhero powers.
That's so stupid. I feel ashamed because I'm Hispanic and, we know better, guys.
Well,
you may get the superpower that you get to meet God.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's what they probably thought.
As a kid, I was thinking when I first read that, I was thinking about being that age. It's just this thing. It's like 12. I think you can already discern that that's not going to work. 8 or 10, there's still a little magical thinking. I mean, when you're 8 years old, you still believe in Santa Claus. So I can see how the 8-year-old might think, all right, this could work. but certainly the 12-year-old. And the funny thing, too, is it has to really hurt to get bit by the Black Widow, and yet all three of them went for it.
Yeah, like they saw like they see their brother in crippling pain. They're like, I want to try that.
I'm in. I'm in too.
And then the last one saw two of his brothers do that. So,
they should have just waited for one of them to do it, and the other two should have been like, all right, let's just see what happens.
Let's just wait and see what happens. You do that to the youngest one first, because he's the most susceptible.
Yeah.
And then if he turns into Spider-Man, then we'll go for it.
Yeah.
Well, that's the way they'll do it next time.
Jump into a vat of toxic waste.
They didn't learn anything the first time.
Hey, this is one that has really been haunting me. Belgian man has been receiving pizzas that he did not order for years.
Can I help you?
Peaches?
I want to order a fucking pizza!
So a 65-year-old man in Flanders says that he is losing sleep because he has been receiving pizzas that he never ordered for nearly a decade, sometimes several times a day. Now,
pizzas or
peaches? Pizzas.
Okay. That makes more sense.
It does, right?
Yeah.
Over the past 9 years, pizzas he never asked for have been delivered to Jean van Langenham's home in Turnhout in the Antwerp province. Started 9 years ago, Van Langenham told the news. Suddenly, a pizza delivery man handed me a whole load of pizzas, but I hadn't ordered anything, he added. At first, he thought it was a simple mistake in the delivery address, but the orders of pizzas and other food that he never ordered kept flowing in. It can be on a weekday or during weekends or any time of the day. The orders come from delivery services in Turnout, but also in surrounding areas. I have even had orders delivered to me at 2 a.m. I can't sleep anymore. I start shaking every time I hear a scooter on the street. I dread that someone will come and drop off hot pizzas yet another time.
Does he have to pay for them?
No, he never paid for any of them. One day in January 2019, he said 10 different delivery men showed up at his house, one of which had 14 pizzas with him. I have always refused the deliveries, so I've never paid for anything, he said, adding that the harassment is not only annoying for him, but also for the restaurants. It costs them money, and they have to throw the food away.
Oh, that sucks. Somebody really fucking committed to this prank.
Somebody hates him. Somebody really
for a decade
hates him.
already. On the day that the 10 deliveries showed up, I did the math. It cost 450 euros, he said. He reported the false deliveries to the police several times, but he still has no idea who the person harassing him is. I cannot take it anymore. When I find out whoever has been bothering me for the past 9 years, it will not be their best day, he said.
That's a really polite threat.
It is. I like it.
I will speak to them sternly.
You're right.
And firmly, but politely.
What is happening where these restaurants cannot trace like a phone number or an email for whoever is making these orders?
Yeah, I mean,
and if it's recurrent, you should know better. You know.
He needs to tell every restaurant that he just is not like. Well, if that address comes up, he blacklisted. No deliveries go there.
What if he actually wants to make a delivery one day?
He can't now.
I said that the police should just put out, like, you know, if there's a wanted man kind of poster, you would just have like a wanted pizza call poster, like for this address. If anyone orders a pizza for this address,
right? Trace the call.
Yeah.
The next time,
or don't deliver it. Call the guy. Give them the guy's actual phone number. Call this guy first to make sure.
Yeah, give me a callback number, and then send all of the Antwerp Police Department to that number.
SWAT team.
And then we'll end this once and for all.
I would just send like all of the fucking pizzas to that address.
Exactly.
And
if you could trace it, just send it all over there, bastard.
Look, let's be real here. This had to have started when the guy was a teenager, because if there's one group of people that are so committed to doing stupid things they find funny, it's us teenagers.
But even if he started doing it when he was 15, would you still be up for that prank at 25?
I think it gets funnier the longer it goes on.
Maybe it does. Maybe it does.
It's been 9 years, guys. Let's keep doing it.
What if it's like that thing where like when your loved one dies and you find out that they've like set up a thing where like you still get a bouquet of flowers every year on your birthday or something, but somebody just like really messed up
Yeah.
scheduling.
Right.
But so he would get a pizza every day. That's what somebody like willed.
Yeah. I bequeath it.
My sweetheart will never go hungry ever again.
10 pizzas every day. All right, I just got one more story before we get to the movies. Man complained of stomach ache. Kelly and I were talking about this the other day. Man complained of stomach ache, had a mobile phone charger in his bladder.
What? In his bladder?
Yeah.
How it got there?
We know how it got there, but we don't
He
want to...
shoved it in.
Like
sweetly.
Like sounding?
But
yeah, sounding. That's what I said. Nobody knew what that was, Kate.
I know.
Thank you.
It's horrifying.
An Indian man who went to the hospital with abdominal pain had inserted a mobile phone charger cable into his penis. A doctor who treated him told CNN on Monday. The man visited the hospital in northeastern India last month, claiming he had ingested some earphones.
Someone's a little fucking liar.
Said Dr. Islam, a general surgeon at the hospital. But when the cord didn't appear, despite the patient being prescribed laxatives, doctors resorted to surgery. He came to us after 5 days, and despite passing stool several times, cable did not come out. We then conducted an endoscopy, and it still couldn't find anything. As the patient complained of severe pain, we decided to perform surgery and found that there was nothing in his intestine, Islam told CNN. It was at this point that an x-ray revealed that the man had a 2-foot-long charging cable in his bladder inserted via his urethra, the tube that leads from the penis to the bladder. Then I made an incision there, and I took out the cord, which was actually a charging cable that was over 2 feet long. If he had been honest, then it would have saved us the trouble, and we could have treated him sooner.
If you do something weird to your body, when you go to the hospital, you just gotta tell the truth.
Tell them what's going on.
Yeah, before.
Oh my God.
The patient has been discharged and is fine, according to Islam. I have read that people used to get sexual gratification by inserting instruments through the penis. This is one such case, and the psychiatrist can help him beyond this point, Islam added.
Being weird and different.
I don't have a penis, but that shit move has hurt.
Oh my God.
Some people are
2 feet long? Really?
Did it have like the USB connector?
That's what I'm thinking.
Oh, for sure. Well,
I'm wondering if it had the block that connects to the wall.
I don't. It probably didn't have the block, but it certainly had the USB at the
phone attached to it as well.
How do you get it so far up there, though? Also, like
exactly.
That's what I was wondering. And
Determination.
I said the old trick, when you have to get the string through your hoodie.
Yeah.
How you have to keep wriggling it. I don't know if you can do that with a penis.
Put a paper clip up there to
What do you
jam
call
it in.
Stace, what do you call? Remember, I had to get when I had surgery. I had to get the tube inserted in the penis.
Catheter?
The catheter. I've had a catheter twice.
Catheters are not fun,
and they're so ridiculously painful and uncomfortable. I can't imagine some way that you're getting any sexual gratification from it. It's the fucking worst thing in the world. And once I put one in there, you can't unfeel it. You feel it the entire time. I do not suggest you get a catheter unless you really.
I think I've had a catheter once during surgery.
I don't know if it's the same thing with women's anatomy
I think
as
it's
with men.
Probably a little easier, but it's still you're sore afterwards.
Yeah,
for
it's
sure.
uncomfortable. So anyway, that's what happened to that guy. And really, I guess the lesson here is if you do something weird, if you put something up your ass or you put something in your urethra and it goes wrong, just go and tell them exactly what happened. Don't let them try to guess.
But also just don't do it.
It's wasting everybody's time.
Well, don't. I mean, if you want to do it.
Well,
I'm not gonna kink shame just because I don't get it. I'm not gonna. But just
be safe about it.
Yeah.
Be able to pull that bad boy back out.
That they make things that are for this purpose that aren't easily retrievable. Just spend a few extra bucks.
Oof.
But it's so long too. Couldn't you have shoved a foot and a half up there and just held the other?
That's it. Let's if we can. Let's just get into this guy's headspace for a second. He's doing it. He's almost there. He's got there's an inch left, and he's thinking to himself, all right, I got to pull this bag out or I'm going to have problems. And then, like, the devil on his left shoulder goes, just push it all the way in, man.
You came this far.
Just push it all the way in.
Push it in. Yeah.
And then, one more step.
And then the angel on his right shoulder is like, but if we do that, how are we gonna pull it back out? And the devil on his left shoulder is like, who cares, man? It's a pandemic. It might not be any tomorrow. Just push it all the way in.
You'll be famous.
Right.
You'll be famous.
Oh, he is. Thinking about it, what's worse, that he kept both ends, like both connectors of the charging cable on, or that he cut it off and now there's a bunch of loose strands of copper wire at either end, just like basically steel wool strands.
Ooh.
Yeah. And the worst part, half an hour later, his roommate's looking for the phone charger. Where's the charger? I don't know. It was here a minute ago.
And you know the whole time it's inside of your penis.
Right, you know. Maybe
wait till he finds out where his phone went.
Yeah. maybe that's the sexy part of all this, is knowing that it's in the bladder when everybody else is looking for the charger.
Oh, that's so devious.
Let's talk about some movies we've seen lately.
Yeah, let's do that. Thank you.
Let's see if we can pivot. I review all the movies I watch over on Letterboxd. You can go to letterboxd.com/sleazegrind if you want to follow me. But we're going to talk about some recent horror or horror adjacent films that we've seen. So let's go around the room if we may. First of all, let's go to the 16-year-old intern, Rui.
I recently, or by recently I mean yesterday, I watched 2014's Creep.
Ooh, okay, all right.
Which
that excited Kate because she's a creep.
Yeah, that was a very good movie. It's very minimalistic. It's found footage style, Blair Witch kinda, and there's only 2 characters.
Okay.
And Duplass brothers, man.
Yeah.
Give us the plot. Thumbnail it for us. Tell us what happens.
So basically, it follows the journey of a struggling filmmaker by the name of Aaron, and he has been tasked, he's getting paid to go to a cabin and record basically there's this guy Joseph who's dying of brain cancer, and he wants to shoot a video for his unborn child so he can connect with his child from beyond the grave.
Sure.
But as things go along, you realize this guy isn't who he says he is, or even if he is, he's crazy.
Okay.
And then there's this really creepy wolf mask that the guy puts on, and there's this it's such an uncomfortable movie.
It's so good.
Yeah, like even before things actually go downhill, like you can tell this guy is he's creepy.
Right.
You know, there's like a scene in the bathroom where like the guy's taking a bath and he wants Aaron to film it. It's so just uncomfortable to watch. And then Aaron leaves, and he starts getting presents from this guy at his home.
Yeah.
Like he gets a knife in the mail, he gets these videos in the mail, and and then he has to meet up with him. It's so uncomfortable.
And the end is so good.
Yeah, the end is like, here's the thing. You see exactly what's happening. You know it's going to happen, but it's like, you see it coming, but you're just not ready for it.
Yeah.
You're not ready for it.
It's a prime example of why you should never accept a job on Craigslist.
Yeah. I heard a story of like somebody going to a house at Craigslist, and in the window they see a taxidermied human corpse.
That would say no for me.
Yeah, very much.
All right, thank you. So Creep, everybody, from 2014. Where did you see that, really, if people want to check that out?
I think it was on Netflix, was it? Or was it Hulu?
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. What about Survivor, Larsa? What have you seen lately that you want to tell us about?
So we saw The Witch after watching the movie that you asked me to watch, and I like it and didn't like it.
Okay.
I don't know. I wasn't scared. I just wanted to figure out who was the one that made the pact with the devil. And at some point, we're really confused because we thought everybody made a pact with it. And I don't know. It was so weird. I don't know why we kept watching it. I think our roommate said, "Let's just watch The Crucible," and we were like, "That's too long."
Yeah.
Watch right now. It was like 1 a.m, but we put this one in it. And in the beginning, Jessica was like, "I don't feel like watching." I'm like, "Let's just give it a try." And at the end, she really liked it. I'm like, It happened the same with Midsommar. I didn't like Midsommar either. And it wasn't scary to me. If I'm going to watch a scary movie, I really want to be scared, which I find really hard lately.
Well, one thing
it was entertaining.
Yeah, I mean, I liked The Witch. What I didn't like about the Witch was the situation that they had set up was horrific enough that there didn't need to be anything supernatural. Their situation was awful. That it was already difficult surviving in that environment in the first place. Yeah. And then they get pushed out of town. The winter's coming. I mean, it's as bleak as you can possibly get. You didn't really need a witch's coven to show up. But so the supernatural part, and especially at the end when it really, it flew off into fantasy, kind of bummed me out. But I really did like the atmosphere. I think, it's total doom. That's what I like about that.
I love it. I really like the music. I like the how do you call it? The ambience and the shots. That was really good. But the story, like in the end, I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. Maybe I was like, how these people, like, we were thinking like in this time period, people thought everything was evil, and they just believed that. They wouldn't like give more thought process of like, this really can't happen. They just thought everything was so evil, everything was the devil, everybody made pacts with the devil. Like, really, I didn't know it was so fucking easy.
So it's also that I also rewatched The Witch this week, and The Witch is really great because the town that this is all allegedly they left and stuff, the sermons and stuff they would have been receiving were entirely about how the woods are evil and how the devil lives in the woods. And that was a huge part of early American religion, was they wanted to make you more afraid of the woods so you would stay within the society. And so from birth in these towns, you are told everything in the woods will kill you, whether it's a native person who you can't defend yourself against or a witch or the devil. And so it did a really good job playing on themes from early American religious history.
And it almost doesn't matter whether it's the devil or it's a bear. If there's something in the woods that's going to kill you, for sure. So they weren't wrong. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So I told the story before about there's a bike path behind my house that I used to walk along last spring. And once I went out at dusk, and then on my way home, it became dark out, and suddenly I couldn't see on the path. I was just in complete fucking darkness in the woods. Not really in the woods because I was on a bike path, but there was woods on each side. And so you can't see anything, and all you hear is the sounds of whatever the fuck is going on in the woods. Again, not much, since it's it's a bike path, but there's still animals in the woods, and it was pretty frightening. Luckily, I had my phone that has a flashlight on it, so I got home. Also,
I would have been shitting my pants.
Also, I couldn't have gotten that far off because I was one street away from my house. but still, I can see how if you were in the actual woods and it became dark, and you didn't really have any way to illuminate anything around you, that it would be completely terrifying.
Let me tell you, I'm not afraid of bears. I'm not afraid of wolves. I am very much afraid of cougars, because at least
Like the adult women, or
no, as in like mountain lion animal. Like at least with a bear, you see a bear. Wolves, you hear wolves.
Yeah.
You don't see or hear a mountain lion. It just comes and it rips your throat open, and you can't fight back because it's a lion. It's just a lion, but here.
There's too much shit going on in the woods.
Yeah,
you got mountain lions, bears, witches.
And witches, and witches.
Ticks.
They're in Massachusetts. There's mountain lions in Massachusetts. There's no gators in Massachusetts.
But those are easy to avoid.
No.
Gators. Yeah,
gators.
Don't get Kate started.
Gators are not. Gators are not easy to avoid.
No,
but they are here.
You can,
in
Massachusetts.
Massachusetts, it's easy to avoid.
I have some cousins that they moved to Florida. Whatever you pronounce that, I have issues pronouncing that because of my
accent. Pronouncing Florida?
Yeah, Jessica always makes fun of me because she said I put too much emphasis on the I.
I think that is how it's supposed to be said.
Because it's Spanish.
Yeah.
She says Florida is without the. I don't know.
We do 2 syllables, Florida.
So you're saying you say it Florida, and Jessica makes fun of you because it's supposed to be Florida, right?
Yeah.
Kate, coming from Florida or Florida, how would you say is the proper pronunciation?
Well, where I'm from, we just say Florida.
Okay.
There's 2 syllables. That's it. You don't even act like there's an I in the word.
All right.
That's what Jess says.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have a town in Puerto Rico that's named Florida, so that's why I say it the way I say it.
I think it's correct.
I mean,
but my cousins moved there, and the kids, when they got into kindergarten, they were taught how to avoid or outrun the alligators.
Cannot run an alligator.
Kate was talking about
if you do the zigzag, if you run in a zigzag,
you can't try to do the zigzag.
They say it's easier because they can turn because of the way their body is built. They can just turn.
They're so fast and they're so quiet. You will never know it's there until it's too late.
Yeah.
I don't think I could run in a zigzag. I think I would be fucked. I'm trying to picture myself doing it, and it's just
like. I don't know.
We were taught as kids 2 things. If you ever see a gator, or if you ever see someone with a gun run in a zigzag,
I
think I can only run in a zigzag.
You're harder to get.
Yeah. All right. Well, since you saw The Witch too, let's just go to Kate. Kate saw The Witch. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about this week?
I did. I actually rewatched 2 other movies. It was a big rewatch week.
Okay.
I put on Hocus Pocus because I really needed.
Well, I've never seen that, but it's a big deal here in Salem because the
house is there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really needed the comfort of just pretending like the world was okay, and so I put on Hocus Pocus, and it helped. And then I went in a totally different direction, and I watched Would You Rather from 2012. Which is a Brittany Snow movie where she's taking care of her younger sibling who is dying of leukemia. And a doctor is like, let me put you in touch with this very rich man who gives people money and what they need. And it ends up being oh, if you come into my house and win this parlor game, I will give you all the money you need to help your brother. And so she goes, and it turns out it's a very diabolical game of Would You Rather. And a lot of people have to die in this game of Would You Rather. It's
nice.
Rather stab someone or cut your own eyeball open. Stuff like that. It's really, really gruesome.
I would rather stab somebody than cut my own eyeball open, for sure. That's an easy one.
You definitely get a razor blade to an eyeball in this movie. So
I'd rather not watch that movie.
Yeah.
That sounds like
I would rather rewatch Hocus Pocus than that one again.
That sounds fun. I'm going to add that one to my queue. Would you rather?
If you want to see really interesting ways in which you can torture people or make people hurt themselves, it's a fun one for that. That's the one thing about it is you're oh that's your
Wow,
it's one of those.
Fun. I like it. All right, Kelly Kapow.
I watched 2 really good movies that I want to tell you about.
Okay.
The first one I watched, Headhunter, which is on Netflix. I think it came out last year, It is directed by Jordan Downey. If you don't know who that is, he did the Thanksgiving movies 1, 2, and 3. He also did Critters, Bounty Hunter. You would not fucking know that this movie was done by the guy that did Thanksgiving with the talking turkey. This movie is fantastic. It's right up Ken's alley because it's only 72 minutes long. And basically, I feel like there's only 2 people in the movie, but it basically just follows one guy. It's medieval. So it's this medieval warrior monster hunter that it follows. And he is basically this like bounty hunter who goes after like monsters in the area, but you don't see anybody else except one person from a distance who shoots an arrow with like the bounty of the latest monster to like this tree across like a body of water. And then that's where the bounty hunter goes, collects it, and then you don't see him actually fighting a lot of monsters. You kind of just see him like getting ready and then him coming home. And he basically brings like their heads back as trophies and hangs them on this wall. But the whole thing is his daughter was killed by a monster. So ultimately his revenge is for this specific one monster at the end. It's so good. It's shot really well. I can't believe it only had a $30,000 budget because it's fantastic. It's super personal and up close. It's kind of like dark filmed. I don't know. I really just loved this movie so much, and I highly recommend it.
Yeah, it's a good one for sure. Headhunter. Yeah, and again, it's like it's done well. It's like, well, we don't have the budget to show you the monster fights, but we'll just make the masks so you can see the heads. So it worked out really well. Excellent.
It was perfect. I mean, there was no shitty CGI in it. Everything just felt so real, and it was just amazing. Yeah. The other movie I watched, so I did this fun thing recently where I went on eBay and I bought a random lot of horror VHSs. So 10 of them came. I had no idea what they were going to be. And I was like, okay, I'll watch one of them and review it. It's a movie. One of them ended up being a movie that I've really wanted to see and can't believe I've never seen. It's The Exorcist 3, which was incredible. Definitely the best. I think it's better than the first one. The second one, if anybody has seen that, it's an absolute piece of shit. But the third one, came out in 1990. It was written and directed by William Peter Blatty. It's an adaptation of his novel that he wrote, I believe, in like 1983, called Legion. It stars George C. Scott, Ed Flanders, Jason Miller, is it Dorff? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So it follows a Lieutenant Kinderman. He's investigating murders in Georgetown, which I think is like part of DC. He's investigating these murders that look like copycats of murders that took place 15 years prior by a famous serial killer called the Gemini Killer. And the Gemini Killer is actually based on, like, loosely, the Zodiac Killer.
Right.
So, I mean, it's just a fantastic movie because it has everything that you want from like a serial killer movie, but with all like the demonic like spice to it. Because obviously it's the fucking Exorcist, so there's demonic possession in it, and it has a lot of religious imagery in it that's really cool. I really like this movie a lot.
That's awesome.
Basically, yeah.
So one thing I want to mention is, so last night when we were driving home from the driving, I was listening to the Shockwaves podcast, and they're doing a special on their favorite franchises, and one of the guys, I think a sexual harassment guy, in fact, was talking about one of his favorite franchises was the Exorcist franchise, and he was saying that in Exorcist 3 has one of the scariest scenes in all of horror. And I was like, I wonder what that was. So I'm asking Kelly, what's the scene that he's talking about that was really scary in Exorcist 3?
There are a lot of really scary scenes in this movie, so it could be any one of them. I mean, there's a scene where this 12-year-old boy gets decapitated and he has this cross sticking out of him. There's a scene where a priest, like his face gets like ripped off.
Wow.
There's a part where they don't show it actually happening. They just show the aftermath of the one priest, he's in the hospital bed, and they go to his hospital bed, and he's been drained of all of his blood, and they're just sitting in like those little urine cups next to him. Yeah. It's fucking terrifying.
Wow.
So we watched this, and we watched like half of it like late at night, and I had my windows open on the back porch and stuff. And I had to like get up and shut the windows because I started getting so scared. And then my fucking partner was like, "Hey, I'm going to go to bed." While there was still like 25 minutes left of the movie. He was like, "You're good to watch this alone." I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me? I'm not watching this movie alone." I have a really fun little piece of knowledge about this movie.
Okay.
This movie was actually one of Jeffrey Dahmer's favorite movies.
Ooh.
He was obsessed with this movie so much that he even went out of his way and purchase yellow contacts so he would look like one of the characters, the Gemini killer, when he was being possessed. And it was known that he watched this movie with some of his victims, and one of his victims that escaped and inevitably got Jeffrey Dahmer caught, Tracy Edwards, said that he did have this movie playing in his house when he was there.
They really should, in future editions, Blu-ray editions or whatever, they really should have the Jeffrey Dahmer recommendation on the box. I loved it, Jeffrey Dahmer. I mean, that's not a good horror recommendation. I don't know what is.
If I was Jeffrey Dahmer's type, I would have definitely gone over. If he was like, "Hey, rum and cokes and Exorcist 3 at my house," I'd be like, "Yeah,
sure,
sign me the fuck up."
Yeah,
but I wouldn't have been his type anyways.
No, you
don't worry about that.
Well, that's a couple of very good suggestions. I got a few. I'll bang through them real quick, and then we'll get to this week's group watch. First of all, Becky 2020. Stacey and I saw it at the drive-in a couple weeks ago. It's basically Home Alone with bloody murder. So what happens is Kevin James of King of Queens fame is he's some sort of felon that just breaks out of jail. And he's like a Nazi. He's bald, and he's got a swastika tattooed in the back of his head and a big beard. And him and some other guys show up at this house in the middle of the woods because there's a key that they have to get. And I think the key is going to start a race war somehow. They never really explain any of that. But anyway, so they terrorize the family. But the 13-year-old, her name is Becky, she escapes. And then she basically goes on a vigilante spree trying to kill the guys that have invaded her home. It was really exciting, fun movie, I thought. Stace, what did you think of Becky?
I thought it was a good movie. The actress who plays the 13-year-old girl is really good. She's great. The only thing I couldn't really get past was Kevin James and being that guy, like the bad guy. Because I'm just looking going, that's Kevin James. And the girl's father's played by Joel McHale. So, and he's Joel McHale. And so it's just, that's the part that I would have liked better. I feel like it would have been better if they'd used unknown actors or different kind of actors, not actors that you're so used to seeing in certain roles, like TV, maybe regular film actors as opposed to television actors.
Yeah.
It'd be really hard to take Kevin James serious doing anything.
It is. I mean,
so that was what was like the thing that took away from it being a better movie than it was.
Right. And although they play it as a straight survival horror film. I mean, it is absurd. It's a 13-year-old girl taking on these like giant felons.
And there's definitely some weird like holes in the story, but you just have to sort of suspend disbelief.
You just kind of roll with it. But the one part that I wanted to mention, it's not a spoiler because it doesn't really affect the film anymore. But there's some hardcore eyeball violence in it that I found really amusing. Kevin James gets stabbed in the eye, and then his eyeball ends up hanging by the root, and then he's got to get it off. So the other guy's trying to pull it off, and won't pull off.
Oh.
So, and this is extended. This is happening this is happening in real time, And then so they put it down on the counter, and he's got to find a knife to cut the root of his eyeball off. It was intense. Hardcore eyeball violence. Fun. Becky, everybody.
For who?
Hey, let me continue on. Body Cam 2020. Mary J. Blige is a tough cop in Louisiana. I don't know who she is. I know her name. Is she a singer? She's a singer, right? Mary
She's
J.
an R&B singer.
Famous R&B singer.
Thank you. She's she's a cop in Louisiana hunting down basically a 10-foot tall ghost. It's pretty good. Although they use it sparingly, the CGI is still pretty wonky, though. Don't use CGI unless you really, really have to. But it's a solid horror thriller. And prescient, by the way, since it occurs during anti-police protests. Interesting. It just came out while anti-police protests were happening, and that's what was happening in the movie. Anyway, interesting one. Body Cam. Another one, brand new, 2020, Pandemonium. It's a British office-bound slasher with comic overtones that pits a bunch of basically swaggering executive assholes and then a clutch of really over-it strippers against a stab-happy serial killer in a panda mask. The over-the-top sexism is supposed to be funny. It's not really funny. The kill scenes skimp on the gore, so that's not great. But it's still kind of amusing. And also, the thing that I really liked is the panda killer's voice. I enjoyed. Stace, let's hear the panda killer.
Hang on 1 second.
Okay.
Is this it? Wait.
Okay.
Yeah, here it is.
Okay.
Oh, don't worry. I'm not even real.
Thank you. That was a panda in a suit killing people. That's the way he talked. It was great. The Deeper You Dig, 2019. It's a pretty spooky ghost story about a guy who hits a teenager with his truck while driving drunk one night. He buries her in the woods, and she immediately starts haunting him. Meanwhile, her psychic mom uses witchcraft to solve the mystery. Pretty good.
Ooh.
So that's a good one. Also, the whole thing was snowbound, which is always a plus in a horror movie for me. I like it when there's snow everywhere.
Yeah.
The Droving from 2020, solid folk horror / mystery about a soldier who heads to a small British village where his younger sister disappeared during a hike the year before. He arrives on the eve of one of those typically weird rural British festivals with fire and dudes in masks. And right?
Yeah,
you know
typical.
how it goes out there.
Yeah.
And slowly unravels what is happening, what happened to her and why. The film kind of dips into the supernatural in the last few minutes, which is a cheat because in folk horror, it's not supposed to be anything supernatural. So that's a little bit of a cheat. But it's really good. Chop the last 5 minutes off and it's really awesome. It reminded me a lot of Dead Man's Shoes. Stacey, remember Dead Man's Shoes? Great movie. Two more. Satan's Baby Doll from 1982. This one I really liked. It's a creaky castle movie, which is my favorite. I love creaky, cobwebby castle movies. There's a mummy in the basement that some weirdo is trying to resurrect. The mummy has a hot daughter who she's roaming around the castle, and she masturbates a lot. She's either just roaming around the castle or she's masturbating. And then there's an equally hot and just very severe nurse. She's also wandering around the castle. Eventually, the daughter possesses the mummy, or the mummy possesses the daughter. It wasn't clear which was which. But the point is something or someone goes on a killing spree. And also, the sight of the mummy rising off of the slab was really, really scary and alarming, which almost never happens because mummies aren't usually that scary. But this one was really scary. So there's a lot of gore and there's a lot of masturbation and there's nuns. And by the way, there's supposed to be an XXX version of this movie, but this one seemed like plenty as it was. I don't know if you even needed it, but it was really fun. It's an Italian horror movie. It's really my favorite thing. Is sleazy Italian horror movies, so I loved it. It's called Satan's Baby Doll. And the last one that I wanted to mention is from 1966. It's called Aroused. And this one I thought would be really interesting for fans of 1980s Maniac to watch, because it's essentially Maniac in 1966. It's a very solid, kind of roughy / film noir about a sex killer on the loose, and then the detective that's on his trail. But the killer is obsessed with mannequins and making them out of dead lady parts.
Ooh, I love that.
And that is it's exactly the plot of 1980s Maniac. And if you're familiar with Maniac, then the ending, which is very amazing, will also remind you of Maniac. So check it out. Aroused. It's proto-Maniac. It's really interesting. By the way, I haven't seen the remake with Elijah Wood yet, but I hear
it was amazing. It was fantastic.
Kelly loved it, from what I hear.
He's creepy. Elijah Wood is creepy as shit in it.
Was he? Is it essentially just like a remake of it, or do they put a new spin on it?
I feel it's essentially just like a remake of it. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Because he doesn't seem the type. Joe Spinell was such a sleazy, gross, creepy guy that I can't see Elijah Wood being that.
He's nerdy and creepy. He's just like this nerdy, creepy little thing. I don't know. I think it was good.
Sounds cute.
Which I guess would be the new kind of. He would be the new kind of whatever Joe Spinell was back then. Because we live in a different world now. So that Elijah Wood would be. Exactly. That makes sense. All right.
Are you saying like an incel?
Right. Is that what's happening, Kelly?
Maybe. I don't know. I feel like it doesn't really give me incel feels.
Okay.
I don't know. You'll have to watch it for yourselves.
It's time, everybody. So that's what we all saw this week. So there's some recommendations for you. It's time, everybody, for the best kill of the week.
Yay!
Murder.
That is gross.
Kate, what's the best kill of the week?
Well, for me, I mean, there's a lot of stuff in Would You Rather, for sure. But there is the part towards the end of the movie where they basically the remaining folks are given the option of having to do whatever is on a card that they flip over.
Okay.
Or hold their breath in a thing of water. And someone has to hold their breath for 4 minutes in a tank of water. And that is not possible, guys.
Right. Okay. All right.
And that is an upsetting way to watch someone die. Yep.
Yeah.
It's very upsetting.
Nobody likes drowning. Mm-mm. Rui, what's the best kill of the week?
Well, there's only one in Creep, so easy decision. But it's when the killer is standing behind the guy.
Don't spoil it.
No, I mean, you gotta spoil it. It's the best kill of the week. So, spoiler alert. Listen, if you haven't seen Creep and you don't want to know, cover your ears for the next 30 seconds. All right, go ahead. Give it to us.
All right, so the guy is standing behind the videographer.
Yep.
He is sitting on a park bench in front of a lake. It's all public.
Right.
The killer puts on the wolf mask. He does this all super slowly. The guy doesn't turn around because he doesn't think he's going to do anything because he pities him. So he, like, literally puts on a trench coat, puts on a wolf mask, takes out an axe, and he's holding the axe right above the guy's head. And you know it's going to happen, but you think they're just going to cut away.
Right.
They're going to cut away last minute.
Yeah.
They don't.
They don't cut
so
away.
It's just the thud of the axe going right on the guy's head. And I'm just over. It's
that stuck with me for a while after I saw that movie.
It's not pretty. And like you thought they were going to cut away and they didn't.
Hey, thank you, Rui. Larsa, what is the best kill of the week?
I think in The Witch when Thomasin killed her mom. Like, I was so tired of her bullshit and complaining about everything. And I want to go back to England. Oh, you stole my silver thing. Like, get rid of her. So I was very happy when she just starts stabbing her. I'm like, oh, finally, somebody took care of this bitch.
Nice. Good one. In the Deeper You Dig, a guy cuts his own head off with a bandsaw. I like that one.
Holy shit.
Yeah, that was good.
How the hell do you cut your own head off?
Just like in one.
Whew.
Yep.
That's.
Yep. Kelly, how about you? What was the best kill of the week?
Can I use the good boy for my kill of the week? Because I feel like mine was in that movie.
Okay, if you must.
Okay.
Spoilers, though.
One of the character, her name's Annie. There's a dog in the movie, which we'll talk about after this.
Yep.
And he grabs Annie by the feet or by the ankle and rips her, and she smashes her head off the sink. But then he pulls her under this bed, and then you just see all this blood. It's just like spewing outside.
I was gagging.
I loved that.
I was actually like, me and my partner watched it last night, and I was like dry heaving, and I don't know what it was about that scene, but it just really
a lot of fucking blood.
Yeah, it was nice because it was it was so much. I don't know if there's that much blood in a person, but that was a lot of
very
blood.
Juicy. So that's mine.
Beautiful, everybody. That's the best kill of the week, and it's that's a nice segue into this week's group watch. Into the Dark presents Good Boy. First of all, you all have pets, so let's hear your who's a good boy, because I know you're all doing it at home. All right, go ahead, Kelly. Give us your who's a good boy.
Oh, to like if I'm speaking to my cat, you want me to do like the voice?
Yeah.
Oh,
oh my God.
It's like that.
Really? Oh my God. That's disturbing. All right, Rui, you got a dog. Give me who's a good boy.
Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy. You know, pretty much just that.
That's nice.
You don't.
My sister, my sister like gets so high that like it shatters. Okay, I can phrase that better. When she talks to the dog, her voice gets so high it like shatters.
Oh, okay.
It's like a dog whistle. Like
pretty much.
Yeah. All right, Larsa, you have a dog.
Yes, we do.
Your dog is
such a good girl. Stop biting me.
Yeah, there you go.
That's how it goes.
Wait, what would yours be, Ken? If you had a
well, first let's get to Kate. She's got a cat.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I have the best boy.
Oh.
Are you the boy? Oh, you're the best boy.
Oh.
I love it.
That's how I do it.
Kate's wins. Stace, let's hear it for Kate. Come on.
Oh.
She did it. I mean, Kelly's wins for creepiest for sure, but
you don't even know the things these guys have seen over here.
Yeah,
I have 3 cats.
I asked Kelly if she baby talks to her cats, and she said it's more like goblin talk. So.
I told him because I work in haunted houses, and like half the time I end up just finding new weird voices because they're voices I use to talk to the cats.
Oh my God.
Or like sometimes I'll just like practice voices for like upcoming haunt season, and I just speak to them in like weird fucking voices all the time. They're used to it.
So basically what happens is there's a series called Into the Dark. It's created by Blumhouse. And every so often pops up on Hulu. A lot of the times they do them based on different seasons or on holidays or whatever.
Weird Thanksgiving one.
Yeah, exactly. And then the last one I saw was the Valentine one, which came out in February. So here's a summary, care of Variety. The film centers on Maggie, Judy Greer, a woman who gets an emotional support dog, Chico. Was the dog's name Chico? I felt like it was something else, but maybe it was
Ruben.
Chico.
It was Ruben.
Ruben, like the sandwich.
Maybe the dog.
The dog actor.
The dog actor is named Chico, and they just called him Ruben. That makes
Very
sense.
cute.
To help quell some of her anxiety, only she finds him to be even more effective than she could have imagined because, unbeknownst to her, he kills anyone who adds stress to her life. This was directed by Tyler McIntyre, no relation to me, who directed 2017's acclaimed slasher Tragedy Girls, which I actually remember liking quite a bit. So there you go. So Judy Greer, who's a very well-known actor, seen her in a million things. She's in her late 30s, and she's having some problems with the dating world. It's getting to her. So she decides maybe getting an emotional support animal will help out. So she goes to the pound. She gets one, weird-looking dog.
It was cute.
Brings
it was weird looking, but it was cute.
It was cute.
Brings it home, but then finds out that it has this strange quirk that whenever she gets stressed out, the dog kills whoever it is that's stressing her out.
It's kind of like Bad Milo in that way.
She doesn't, and it takes her a while.
This on Ass Demon.
It takes her a while to figure that out, and also it's a tiny dog, so it's like how is it possible that this dog is killing people?
It's a dog,
but is it even really a dog? And at the end, which we'll talk about, we find out whether it's just a regular dog or not. So. The last few films that we've watched together here on the Heavy Leather Horror Show have been very dark and menacing, so we thought we would do something lighter, which this certainly is. It's kind of it's basically a black comedy. Although Judy Greer is such a great actress. It's funny, we were talking about actors who can basically melt into whatever role that they are in, and Judy Greer is one of them. I mean, she's obviously immediately recognizable, but you also basically buy her into whatever she's doing, and you buy her exactly as the person that she is in this. So I did feel bad for her. I mean, like, bad dates, the whole thing with like freezing her eggs, and she was a very
geriatric eggs.
Geriatric eggs, exactly. So you really felt for her and the place that she was, the place where she was in this movie when it all began. So it also sort of makes sense when she starts to get an inkling about what's going on, and she continues to defend her murderous animal, and people get attached to their animals. Probably, I mean, like, I'm not sure it's the same, but if you have a kid, like, Jeffrey Dahmer's dad still had to love him on some level, right? So she still loved her animal even after she figured out that it was killing people. So that probably happens. But anyway, let's find out what everybody thought about Into the Dark / Good Boy. Hey, Rui, what'd you think of this movie?
I personally, I didn't really vibe with it. I was too like...
Stace, buzzer from Rui. Yeah. Thank you.
For me, it just like, it was too... It felt like a rom-com a lot, and I don't really vibe with rom-coms.
Really, buddy? You don't like a good rom-com?
At least not any that I've seen. I think I've just been watching bad ones, but yeah.
When's the last time you dialed into a rom-com? Give me an example of Rui going, all right, let me just sit down and watch a rom-com right now.
I mean, I guess Friends is a rom-com.
What?
Sort of.
What?
In a way.
Oh, no.
Thank you.
No.
Friends is a terrible sitcom that went on
Friends
for
is
way
it's
too
not
long.
a rom-com. Anyway. So too rom-com-y for you. What did you think about the more murderous aspects, the horror aspects of the film?
Those were good. I liked the the effects were really good. I thought it was kind of interesting how she would have like, I couldn't tell if they were like flashbacks or if they were actual hauntings. Like when she like relives the guy falling off the roof, or the jump scare.
Yeah.
With the in the mirror. Yeah, I thought that was a interesting part of it. It made you think a little more.
One thing that's interesting, and this happens in horror movies a lot, and I don't know if maybe this is something that happens in real life or not, but what happens is that somebody gets murdered, and you can easily just call the cops and say this was an accident, or this is what this other person did this, or whatever. And then instead of doing that, I've seen it in 3 movies that I saw this week. Instead, people try to cover it up by burying the body. And I can't imagine that that's ever the solution. You can't bury a body. How can you bury it? Where are you going to bury it? Every time somebody buries a body, you find the body. And anyways,
you have to go deep.
Right, exactly.
She didn't seem to go too far off the beaten path.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
Didn't you bury them all in the same place?
Right.
Like the same place. Like, how are you?
I will say, watching it with my partner, though, last night, when she buries the first body, I was complaining. I was like, at this point, like, you could have already just gone to the police and been like,
exactly.
This is what happened.
Right.
He was like, he literally looked at me and he goes, but what crime has she committed? And I was like, well, burying a body, like disposing of evidence, tampering with the crime scene. And he was like, but she didn't kill anyone. And I was like, what are you doing? Why are you defending this?
The only way to get rid of a body is you have to eat it. The whole thing, bones and all.
What?
That is a good way to do it. Because,
that is true.
Because, think about to the lengths that Jeffrey Dahmer went to try to get rid of the bodies. I mean, with the barrels of acid and everything.
Of acid.
I mean, it's just too fucking hard. You can't do it.
It's exhausting.
And also, she's trying to. You got to clean the blood out of the bathtub and all that kind of stuff. The blood's never going to come out. That much blood's never going to come out of a bathtub. It's going to be. It's just going to stain everything forever. So the idea that you can clean up, bury the thing, carry on with your day, it's just never going to happen.
Yeah.
So that annoyed me. But anyway, let's talk more about it. Kate, what did you think about Good Boy?
I'm a little on the fence. I don't know if I liked it or not.
Okay.
I liked parts of it. I was really annoying at the beginning, again, with my partner, where, she goes into the pound and the guy's like, oh, his old owner's in prison, so he doesn't have a home. And I was like, his old owner didn't do it. He did it. The dog did it.
Right.
And
you thought that right away.
Yeah. And then my partner was like, why are you doing that? And why you ruin it? But the dog was very cute. I feel like if that weren't the dog, I would have a harder time with the movie. It was just like very goofy looking with those big old ears, like some like weird cattle dog mixed with a chihuahua. I think Judy Greer was fantastic. I feel like if I just let go and was like, this is a fun movie, it's good that way. I don't think you should take it too seriously. It makes it less fun. I think the jump scares definitely got me. I appreciated those. I thought those spiced it up.
Stacey, since Kate's in the middle, can you give her a ding and a buzzer at the same time? Is that possible? Thank you. Very good. Is it possible that all of these murders were committed by Judy Greer and the dog was just a manifestation of her anxieties?
I thought of that too. Yeah.
Right? Because it makes more sense than what was actually happening.
Yeah.
Hey, Larsa, what did you think of this movie that we saw? Good boy.
I really liked this movie because I knew it was going to be so stupid. This is the third movie we see of After the Dark series. And on the third one, I have discovered what this series is trying to do, or what I think it is. And I think they're trying to mimic all of these great 80s movies. And they're trying to do it now in the 2000s, and it doesn't work. Because it's not scary like that. I think in the 80s, if you see a dog kind of ripping into its skin and attacking something, it would have been scary. But now it's kind of funny. I don't know, but I really like it. My roommate didn't like it at all. She was annoyed by the movie. She usually doesn't like scary movies, and we make her watch this, and she already had a bottle of wine down. Yeah. And she's like, this is so stupid. What are we watching this? But I really like it. I like that scene with the girl being dragged under the bed and all the blood. I think it was hilarious. It wasn't that scary, but I love it. There was so much blood. I think it's from the series we saw, the one from the one with the elevator, and we saw Puka, and this one, and this is the one I like the best.
That's awesome. So the scene where her friend gets dragged under the bed and there's all the blood, I think that was the standout as far as the sort of the murder scenes go. She was also, I thought that, it was weird because that character was kind of complex, because I think you were supposed to hate her, but she was really kind of likable,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because she was really shallow and, into Instagram and all that kind of stuff, but she still seemed like a good friend at the same time, right? Didn't she?
Yeah.
I feel like they didn't make her unlikable enough.
Right. I think she was supposed to be unlikable, and it could just be that the actor just did a good / weird job, but she actually made the character likable. Also, cast-wise, it was really interesting to see Maria Conchita Alonso, who
I hate her
as the landlord for Judy Greer, because I used to see her in the 80s all the time. And,
she doesn't like Puerto Ricans, by the way. Oh my God, this goes way back, and it has nothing to do with the movie. But when she used to be in pageants, and she's from Venezuela, and when one of the Puerto Rican ladies won the Miss Universe, she bashed us and drag PR.
Wow.
And that's why I don't like her. Yeah. Okay. She was actually in my dream last night, and yeah, she died on my dream last night.
Wow. Okay. All right.
Wow.
Yeah. It was a really weird dream. I was seeing Jessica.
That hate runs deep.
Yeah.
I saw her. I'm like, that bitch is in this movie. What the fuck?
Well,
I didn't recognize her at first, and then it was killing my partner, and he looked it up, and he was like, oh, and he just started yelling, Alva, and I was like, oh shit, vampire chicks.
Yeah, I thought she was super hot in the 80s, but I'll take it all back if you have a problem with her, Larsa. So it's fine.
Yeah, we don't like her. Puerto Ricans don't like her.
All right, I'm against her then. Hey,
I've seen her die then.
That's true.
Oh yeah,
right.
it was great. And finally.
Hey,
and in your dream again.
Hey, Kelly, what did you think of Good Boy?
I wanted to like it, but unfortunately, I just don't like Pam. What's her name? Wait, what's the lady's name?
Judy Greer.
I don't like her at all. She is so mousy and annoying to me.
Oof.
And I just thought she was so unlikable. Like, even like when she started dating that cop, like the hot cop in it, and I'm like, he's too good for her. Like, she was such a bitch. Like, and then there was like glimpse where I started to feel like bad for her, of course, with the fertility thing. Then I was like, okay, maybe. And then I just didn't like her. Like, when they were eating ice cream and somebody accidentally bumped into her, and she got so fucking mad, and I was just like, you know what? She's a bitch.
It was because of the hormones, because she's getting a hormone treatment to, the egg thing, and it's the mood swings that apparently you get when you do this kind of like treatments.
You get mood swings, but like they don't make you hallucinate. That was really like they were really going for it with that.
They really did. I liked the kill scenes. I liked that it had some comedy to it. I think I just don't like her. I liked her in Jawbreaker as Fern Mayo, and that's about it.
Arrested Development. She's great in Arrested Development.
Yeah, she was good. Yeah.
All right, so Stace, we got a buzzer from Kelly. I'm gonna balance it out, give it a ding. Except the only thing that I did not like is at the end when they show you what Ruben actually is. Because it was.
Oh yeah.
It was cheesy.
That was so stupid.
It looked ridiculous.
It looked like one of those like stuffed animals that you squeeze and it turns into something scary. You know, like those teddy bear things that you like. It was ridiculous looking. I thought for that maybe they should have gone with CGI if they couldn't nail that down.
Or just not
practically.
Show it. Like, I think it was fine not showing it.
I think that's the part when I realized that maybe they're trying to mimic what happened in the 80s with horror movies, which was good at that point because that was the technology available. But right now it doesn't work.
Yeah, but even in the 80s, they had great practical effects artists that would have done a much better job than what they gave us there. So that apart, I mean, and again, you're right. You didn't even have to show it. It would have been fine if you would have left it to our imagination.
The shadow of it was cool.
The shadow
like if they
just done that,
just stuck with that and never have actually showed it full on.
I also kind of wanted more from the vet. Like, I feel like the vet plot line fell apart so fast. Like, she called and was like, hey, we need to like do the blood work again because we don't know what's going on.
Right.
Something wrong with it.
And then like nothing ever came of that. And I was just like, no, that would have been interesting to have a little more information.
That was like that movie, The Room. Have you seen that movie when the mom comes in and she's like, I'm going to die of cancer. And then they never talk about it anymore.
Yeah.
Because it was what she said. Hey, can you bring him back in? Because the blood tests were all over the place. I mean, that's a really kind of compelling line. It was like, well, what does that mean? I mean,
And then nope.
What did
never comes up again.
And she already had her suspicions that the dog had something. So I will have bring the dog like to figure out what the heck is wrong with it.
Right.
Yeah. They also like some of the characters you like with the Anna, like some of the characters you were supposed to hate, you just didn't like the boss. I don't know. I didn't really hate him.
Man, they made him look bad. That actor is so much better than that.
Yeah. Steve Guttenberg was the boss.
Steve Guttenberg, I was just like, what did they do to Steve Guttenberg?
I know.
Oh, and the co-worker where he's like trying to pull the egg plate from her, and I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? Like, he's so fucking rude.
Yeah.
I don't know. He bothered me a lot, the co-worker.
It just, and I do agree, like, Judy Greer wasn't, like, they made her character really unlikable in a lot of ways. And you're supposed to have sympathy for her. Or maybe, like, they didn't mean to make her that unlikable and she just was. But, like, even before the whole hormone thing, like, she was pretty insufferable.
Yeah, like, I thought so too.
Like, dating sucks and is hard, especially when you're in your late 30s and you really want to have a kid. But, like...
For sure. And then she met somebody.
Yeah.
Who was great. I mean...
Granted,
he was a cop, which is I won't get started on that.
Yeah.
But he was great and he was attractive and he was very sweet to her and when he got the camera for the dog for her so she could spend more time with him.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought he was really good. And then she's like, I just realized that I don't need you. And I'm like, wait, he was good. What happened?
Yeah.
I thought you were happy.
And I did like, I really did enjoy the bad date part too. I really like bad dates. I would watch, if there was a show, there used to be one, right, Stace? Blind Date, right?
Yeah.
If there was just a show of just a bad date.
I'll send you stuff. These shows still exist.
There's one on Netflix called Dating Around, and it's about that, and it's really good, especially season 1. There's a girl that was awful. She's awful on every single date.
It's so fun to watch. I've had like a 1 or 2 bad dates in my life that I couldn't save. Usually, most of the time I can save them somehow, but just sometimes you just have zero chemistry with people, and when you're watching that, it's always fascinating to me to watch that, like just the misery of that kind of situation. It's fun, especially fun because I don't have to deal with it, so it's not my problem.
I know that part's nice, yeah.
Right? Yeah. I mean, Rui's the only one that's really got to deal with it, so enjoy that.
Good luck out there.
Yeah, sorry, Rui.
Enjoy that.
Be careful when you swipe right.
Yeah, I will.
Just get a dog.
Fair point.
After the movie, our dog was sleeping next to us, and I look at her. I'm like, "Are you gonna kill us?"
I can't wait
to stop feeding them.
She looks so adorable, like the dog in the movie. I'm like, "Are you gonna kill us?" It was so
You have to keep them happy. That's it.
All right.
Feed them, pet them, and you'll be okay.
Yeah, it's simple. Kelly, how Salem was this movie? Not very Salem, I don't think.
No, 0.
0% Salem. All right.
Wait. Oh,
Okay.
a little bit Salem when it comes to Annie being like an Instagram obsessed.
That's
like
true.
that's a little bit Salem right there.
Yeah, there is. That is. Hey, I appreciate. It was dark, but Kelly came over, hung out in the backyard the other day, and didn't pull out the phone once. I really appreciate that, buddy.
That was fun.
I love that. It's so difficult to spend time with your friends, especially younger friends, and not have them either want to capture whatever is happening at the moment on Instagram, or at least continually check their phones while they're talking to you. I appreciate that. Good job, buddy.
Well, I was telling Ken, I'm constantly on my phone at home when I'm by myself. I'm just married to the fucking thing. But when I'm out in social events or around other friends, I really hate being on my phone. I feel like I just want to, especially now after all of this happening and now rarely getting to see people, I just want to soak up every fucking moment that I can. You know?
Yeah, right. It's so nice to be present with people.
Yes.
Before we go, let's get to the plugs. Stacey, will you play the plug music? And we'll get to the plugs. First of all, thank you. Oh, it's good plug music. It sounds like I'm going to announce some funerals. First of all, our YouTube page is youtube.com/Heavy Leather Horror Show. You can see our TV shows there. Maybe we'll make more TV shows in the future. We made 5 and then the world ended. But we do plan to do it again sometime.
I think it might be our fault.
Maybe we didn't help. You can go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/Heavy Leather Horror Show for news updates and fun, and you can go to our IG for movie recommendations from the gang. And if you're interested in our previous show, Heavy Leather Topless Dance Party, you can find that and everything else at heavyleatherforever.com. You should also know that I have a music podcast with my buddy Swilson called Advanced Demonology. You can find that wherever podcasts are sold. We're also part of the Campaneros radio network. GoGoCampaneros.com is for their sites. You can check out Movie Melt, Get Soft with Dr. Snuggles, Songs on Trial, and now the Heavy Leather Horror Show podcast over at Campaneros. That's it for me. Hey, what about Lursa? So, Lursa, you still do Survivor events here and there. Do you have anything coming up?
Actually, I do. Today at 5, we are going to play Secret Hitler. to raise money. Yeah, I don't know anything about this game. Apparently,
it's fun. It's fun.
Werewolf. I have played Werewolf with my family, but it's something like that. I have to watch a video to see what I'm getting into. But it's a fun race for our fellow sister Sunday. She got diagnosed with cancer for the 3rd time. So whatever money we made today is going to go towards her and fighting cancer. And also, Jessica has a 24-hour burlesque thing, and you can find more info on her Instagram, right?
Yeah.
At Jessica Dunaway. And you can find about the Secret Hitler on my social media, which is like Twitter at Lyrsa, Lyrsa, or Instagram, Lyrsa Torres.
Kate, what is Secret Hitler?
Secret Hitler is a fun, board game, card game, and basically it's all about deception. Someone is, you are randomly given cards. Someone is Hitler. Someone is an ally of Hitler, Nazis, and then there's people who are trying to defeat Hitler, and you're not supposed to know what anyone is, and you lie, basically, or tell the truth, and the person next to you gets to be like, well, no, they actually aren't telling the truth. They were going to do X, Y, and Z, and, do this to Germany, and you have to figure out who's telling the truth and who's lying, and you have to guess by the end of the game who Hitler is. And if you guess right, you defeat Hitler. If you don't, Hitler wins.
Incredible.
That sounds scary.
I have to be good at this one because they told me it is like Avalon, and the last time I played that, I ruined it on purpose. So I have to be good on this one. I like to ruin those games so people get super frustrated.
It's hard if you're like me and you're way too lawful good and you try to do a little bit of deceit, but to be a good guy, and then the people around you are just they're Hitler, they're doing bad stuff, and you're like, I don't lie, don't do this.
All right, Kate, you got Spite House, right?
I do. I have spitehousedesigns.com. We have knife jewelry, knife pens, knife earrings, knife necklaces, everything you can want knife-wise. And I'm also going to start doing some cool hand-foiled prints under Lake Lacrimose Studio. So you can find that on Instagram.
That all sounds exciting. Hey, Rui, anything happened with you, buddy?
Nothing really. Maybe in the future, I'll let you know.
Okay, it sounds like you got something in the works.
Possibly.
Something. Can you give us a clue? What medium will be?
Possibly music, possibly video. I have a few things.
Very intriguing.
Trying to work out.
Very intriguing to see what comes out of the Rui camp soon. Kelly Kapow, how about you, buddy?
Nothing.
Excellent. That's what I like. Stacy, anything with you?
Not yet.
Okay.
Working on some.
You got something too? Ooh. You got something in the pipeline?
Yeah.
What medium is it? Is it also a little music, a little video? What do you got?
No, probably either be podcast or video podcast or something.
That's exciting. We'll all be looking forward to that. Well, until next time, everybody, stay spooky. And thank you for listening. And we'll see you all next week on the Heavy Leather Horror Podcast. Good night.
Unpleasant dreams.